Hello everyone, I'm Barry, and welcome back to another year of LOTUSCLAN. This year was meant to be our first mass extinction since the clan was way too overpopulated last year. But the game decided to laugh in my face and kill way too many cats before I could run a generator. I still had to, but the actual number of cats to die to the harsh leafer generator were honestly in the minority of all of the cats that died this year. Moving forward, I will be turning on in-game mass extinctions upon reaching 30 cats in the clan, and if I end the year with over 35, I will run a manual one at the end of the year. As I said, I used an extremely harsh leaf bird generator over on Perchance, so I'll leave the link to that in the description. Before we get into the speed paints, as always, please proceed with caution if any of the topics not mentioned on screen are hard for you to watch, as they will be featured. You know, typical warrior cat stuff, blood, animal cruelty, etc. And last but not least, I have to address a small oopsie that I have made on the previous years. I've been accidentally making every cat a moon older than they should have been, and instead I was giving them the age they would have been on the first moon of the next year. If that sounds too confusing, what I'm doing to fix it is, if you notice this year, every cat has aged up 11 moons instead of 12. It will be back to normal next year. I just needed to set the numbers straight. Let's now start with the speed paints. Starting with Olivar, who is now 115 moons old and is still in the leadership position. He's been trying to reconnect with his old apprentice Finchhope, eavesdropping on him and later take him out on a spar. It turns out that Olivar wasn't aware of how his neglect made his apprentice feel all those years ago and intended to make up for it by spending some extra time training together. Sadly, it did not work very well, and Olivar fairly likes Finchhope, but Finchhope very much dislikes him, with the dislike bar slowly creeping towards the red again. On a happier note, he spent time with the medicine cats this year and has grown a fairly decent crush on Jaycall, and it is mutual, which I'm hoping for the best because I think Olivar deserves love, my gay little man. He lost 2 lives this year, one after getting his leg trapped in a 2-leg trap that left him heavily mangled. His wound wasn't closing despite Jaycall's best efforts and grew swell and feverish with infection, which ended up taking a life away. His second life he lost to starvation almost immediately after Moonwise, and it was during the manual mass extinction. He willingly rationed the lack of prey for warriors who needed it most while putting on a brave face, which left him heavily hungry and is now heavily affected by the losses leafer caused. He feels the responsibility of all of his dead clanmates and has been debating retirement as his elder age creeps up on him. So, depending on his statuses next year, I might start rolling if he retires from the leadership position. Our deputy stork Melo is now 50 moons old, and his mate, Streambark, is now 48 moons old. Stork Melo had a very social year. He shared prey with Finchhope, apparently eating with them all the time, and brought prey to Olivar, noticing he had been starving himself during the leaf prey, which Olivar thanked him for. Sadly, Olivar still ended up losing a life. He wanted to get to know Saplingfeather better, but was annoyed when she seemed to prefer hanging out with her friend Marshal, who she was already pretty close to, and who Stork Melo now minorly dislikes. He has also begun to understand and appreciate Marsh more after talking with Pebbleo on a hunting patrol, and bonded with Greynull after seeing a pretty flower in her nest and commenting on it. He, however, does not like Cedarbrooke and is still suspicious of him, having seen him glare at a clanmate. Him and Streambark kept having cute days, although he did tease her about one of her favorite battling techniques, which Streambark got extremely snappy at, souring the mood and making the rest of the patrol date very awkward. Later in the year, though, his brother Softheart had another litter, and he bonded with his new niece by telling her exaggerated clan news. Stork Melo really seems to like kids and is very supportive to all of Softheart's kids, so maybe he is hoping him and Streambark can have some of their own someday. Streambark, meanwhile, has less to report on, but she significantly got her tail badly injured and scarred by a fox, and that happened in camp, so I'll get more into what happened with the next cat. She later found some bluebells and decided to wear them, and I think the color is perfect for her and it goes very well with her eyes. Lilac Bramble started off year 5 by wondering if Jaycall had received any prophecies, and later that same moon asked him on some advice on one of her dreams could have meant. Upon hearing her dream, Jaycall's eyes went wide and his fur prickled, shakingly telling Lilac Bramble that her dream is a warning of upcoming death and destruction, which freaked Lilac Bramble out and cut the patrol short. She tried to put it out of her mind and spent time gathering herbs with Apricot Fuzz, who she was shocked was interested about the nature of StarClan, even looking at her with wonder in his eyes. Windstripe ended up in the medicine den not long after falling off a cliff during a walk outside of camp, which broke his leg. She was more avoidant and quiet than with other patients when she was treating him, and while there was no openly verbal argument, the air in the medicine den was tense, and Lilac Bramble had trouble sleeping with him in the den again. Lilac Bramble then woke up in the middle of the night to a strange noise, where she then saw someone or something on the fresh kill pile, despite being sure everyone was asleep in the clan. She approached the shape with the intent to spoil them by sneaking in a midnight meal, but before Lilac Bramble could realize her mistake, sharp canine teeth were at her throat. A fox had sneaked into camp in the middle of the night to scavenge from the fresh kill pile and ended up killing Lilac Bramble. The clan woke up to the sounds of struggles and fox snarls as Lilac Bramble tried to slash the fox's face in hopes it would let her go. Warriors rushed out of their den, and while the fox was driven away, Lilac Bramble didn't survive the attack and Streamback suffered from a major chill injury. Later in StarClan, Lilac Bramble was thinking about her life on the same moon that Marigold Tail was talking with her about their ambitions and hopes and dreams that they had for their lives in LOTUSCLAN before their deaths. And that is horrible, and I hate it. Fuck you, Calangian, for doing that to me, specifically. For something happier, though, I will confirm that now that Lilac Bramble's in StarClan, she has reunited with Beaverbite. And based on future years' notes, I'll spoil right now that Lilac Bramble will be taking care of every kitten or apprentice that joins StarClan too young, becoming somewhat of the mother she was never allowed to be in life, which is both poetic and bittersweet. Either until their parents or loved ones join them, or forever if the kitten so chooses. Windstripe didn't mourn or even mention her granddaughter in-game when she died, and I decided to interpret that as he was in and out of consciousness and not really aware due to his now infected broken bone. He didn't last much longer as he died basically the same moon on the next time skip after Lilac Bramble's death. I don't have much more to say about him, but I hate that Windstripe loomed over Lilac Bramble for her entire life and had the goal of whining that it was because he cared for her when he never really did, and then suffered no consequences despite her dying while treating his injury. He's now in StarClan, and although I think he is a horrible man, I don't think StarClan takes being a good family member into consideration unless it affects the overall safety of the clan, as even in the books pretty questionable and blatantly abusive cats have ended up going to StarClan with no consequences. I am not particularly happy with this being the end of Windstripe's story, but at least he can't hurt Lilac Bramble anymore. I decided to draw his daughter in this picture, Lilac's mother, which I will now reveal is named Lyrebird, with Lyrebird being rightly cross and unwelcoming to her father while comforting Lilac Bramble. Because even though she was never in the game, and I know by the way that I wrote her that she would not have let it slide how her dad treated her child, especially when she died giving birth to her. And she now wants nothing to do with him for now in StarClan. Wizard has chosen to spend his afterlife with Basil Nose instead, at least at the moment. Jaycall felt absolutely awful about being right about Lilac Bramble's dream. He was hoping, even though he truly believed what he said, that it would just be a nervous interpretation and it wouldn't end up being that bad. Instead, the dream omen came true. Lilac Bramble died, and later the clan was devastated by a harsh leaf bird. As I said, he does have a crush on Olive Star, which is reciprocated, but It seems that Olistar is the only cat in a position of power currently that he has a good relationship with, as only Laurel has complained about him doing something or other twice this year, and Melo was cross with him after seeing him have fun with Longleaf and then asking him about what they talked about, which Jaycall refused to tell. Newly named Honey Laurel is now 26 months old, and he received his name at the beginning of the year at 16 months old. Fallowthistle offered to help him gather some moss for the medicine and elder's den, and then he later gave some extra petals he discarded while sorting herbs to Softheart so he could wear them. He seemed to be somewhat distracted, forgetting words and certain rules of the warrior code, having to rely on Primrose Paw and Softheart to remind him. He seems very close with the Softheart Longleaf family in general, telling stories to Tanglepaw and making Primrose Paw laugh. He's also bonded with Swampice, who complimented his healing skill and later mocked Daisy Dust's attitude, pretending to be them in front of him. Honey Laurel has stated to be jealous of Daisy Dust's looks and charisma, so it seems they have that in common. Later in the year, during Leaf Fair, he threw himself into work, checking up on Saplingfeather after noticing she had gotten worryingly thin, and later was bitten by a snake while out gathering herbs with Peaksnout, with Peaksnout killing the snake and guiding Honey Laurel back to camp. While at the medicine den, Primrose Wing brought him a gift, but he turned her away, seemingly feeling pitied, which he didn't like. He's currently still recovering, but the venom at least is no longer affecting his body. The Mediators didn't do much during this year, and I lost my detail notes on the mediations that they did in-game, so I'll quickly go over them both. Hillpounds decided to switch to a mediator, committing to her role fully towards the end of the year. She's basically just switched, so she's not done much as a mediator yet, but she did hang out with Crooked this year again, and once again, they talked about insecurities while tossing pebbles at a badger's head. Seriously guys, stop doing that. Tall Rapid, meanwhile, was busy with family drama via her living children's love lives, solving small arguments between Streamberg and Storkmellow, appalling her daughter, by the way, when she boldly said that she was in the wrong with a cheeky smile to fuel the flames. And later in the year, she turned her whole attention to Reedroot, who had a drastic personality change after a personal event. She also had heat exhaustion during the summer, so maybe that's where Reedroot got her sensitivity to the heat from, but not sure. Tall Rapid also resumed hunting disputes with Berry Clan, coming back with plans to solve the issue for good. She gently woke up Pebbleo one morning to tell her something, and I have no idea what it could have been. She decided to rest when Hillpounds took over, and while she's still a mediator in-game, she is only performing her mediator duties in-camp, and is on partial retirement, so any outside mediations are handled exclusively by Hillpounds. Moving on to Pebbleo and Marsh, who are now 66 and 81 moons respectively. Early in the year, they were both caught enjoying a moonlit stroll together, and then they had a training session where Marsh felt light and free with her mate, admiring the way the sun gleamed on her belt. It seems newly named Peaksnout likes Marsh a lot, sharing prey with her and sharpening her claws near her seemingly to get her attention, and Marsh in turn finds him amusing, taking a liking to the young cat. Pebbleo, meanwhile, spent time with the younger warriors a lot, watching and making shapes in the clouds with Greypaw, letting Tanglepaw tell her about his first patrol, and sharing meals with Upperf basically all the time. She and Honey Laurel were talking when a cloud parted over them. Honey Laurel interpreted this as a sign that great things will come her way soon, which made her smile. Towards the end of the year, while hunting in the snow, desperate to find any prey for the starving clan, she followed a scent into a snowy mound and got trapped in a two-leg cage, getting taken away for a bit. The clan didn't rest until they found her 2 moons later, which I will now reveal. I took another note from Galaxy Clan's rulebook, and I will roll on cats that are missing after 2 moons to see if they got fixed or not, with a 100% chance of being fixed by the 5th moon that they're missing. She luckily wasn't fixed, which is great news because the moonship came back literally just under the status where it said that she was found. Pebbleo announced that she was expecting kids. Obviously, for that to work, the 2 statuses would have to be 2 or 3 weeks apart, so I'm retconning the kid announcement to be exactly at the end of the year, since she was found on the first week of the last moon. according to the lore. So we finally have our first ever in-clan pregnancy. I am so excited to show you guys their babies. Pebbleo is moving into their nursery soon and the kids will come early spring next year. Now on the other end of the couple shenanigans spectrum, Reedroot finally gathered the courage to confess to Finchhope and ask him out. And Finchhope then promptly rejected him, saying that he just doesn't see him that way and it would never work out anyway, despite having a decent crush back on him. Interestingly, that very same moon, Reedroot's crush disappeared completely, like a whole romantic bar, just completely gone. And his personality changed from compassionate to responsible. Pebbleo asked him how he was doing after the rejection, having overheard it, and he simply just shrugged it off and asked to be alone. He spent the rest of the year having statuses about organizing patrol, wanting to hunt, and generally showing signs of complete disinterest in anything interpersonal, and instead wanting to focus on work to move on from their rejection. He and Antpurr found a very clan apprentice fleeing from a dog and saved him, with Reedroot escorting them back to Berry Clan camp. Sadly, the apprentice died later to a snake bite. On to Finchhope, he was mostly reserved and avoided Reedroot for most of the year post-rejection, and is generally not having a good time. He recently lost his sister and remained in blood family, even if he wasn't close to them. He still has Apricot Fast, but he doesn't seem to think of him as family, or at all, to be honest. He still resents Olistar and is annoyed at him for trying to reconnect, feeling that his efforts are insincere. And after rejecting Reedroot, he has avoided him completely. Not only that, Finchhope's crush grew much larger while Reedroot's completely disappeared. He's an emotional mess and is shutting everybody out to deal with his own stress. Finchhope, you need to get a grip. Allow yourself to be happy, please, I'm begging you. Next is Marshal and the newly named Peaksnout. Starting with Marshal, her broken bone healed, but she now has a permanently weak leg. After Peaksnout graduated, she was pleasantly surprised to see that her former apprentice did not resent her, and was even happy to spend time with her, despite having been bratty and borderline rude to her during his entire apprenticeship. They actually have a decent mutual like for each other now, and it seems that Peaksnout really appreciates his mentor in retrospect. She then got heat exhaustion and was the cat to show the most hurt at Lilac Bramble's vigil, trying to put on a brave face by breaking down the moment she touched her nose to her fur. She retreated to her nest and spent a few days there, refusing to speak to anybody. Peaksnout was happy to run into Marshal when she got out of her grief and left the warrior's den to resume her duties, and he patted up to her to touch noses with her, offering her some extra comfort. Tragically for Marshal, that was not the only cat that she appreciated to die this year, as Saplingfeather succumbed to the mass extinction. She feels alone now, and like the clan has grown unwelcoming and less of a safe place for her, and is considering if perhaps this isn't where she belongs. Her memory still hasn't come back either. Peaksnout was named for his fortitude at 13 moons old and became an eloquent speaker on top of the previously owned clever skill. He decided to adorn his spell with lavender as celebration, and that is so cute because now both siblings have accessories that they picked out themselves on their warrior ceremony, and it makes me so happy. He thinks that Softheart is very polite, despite having a bit of a dislike for him, which is worrying because at one point he was daydreaming about killing a certain cat, which based on likes it could be Softheart, Saplingfeather, or someone else he's grown acquainted to, and I really hope it's the latter. He interestedly tried to look at Finchhope's action from another perspective after he rejected Reedroot, and came to understand him better and liked him more. And then he thanked Antpurr for covering for him during a patrol where he was not feeling well. Also, as previously mentioned, he killed a snake and brought Honey Laurel back to camp to ask Jaycall to treat the snake bite that he had just received. And in general, he is surprising me, honestly, with how caring he's been towards his clanmates this year. He's been showing a softer side, and I'm very happy about that. He still has some worrying things, and is pretty intense, but this is an improvement. He seems to be bloodthirsty, more so in the way that he yearns to fight and get his claws dirty to prove himself capable, instead of the general, oh, this cat is just evil, vibe that I get from bloodthirsty cats most of the time in this game. I had to fight with a dog and got bit, but healed with no scars. And worryingly, a cat has been walking in his dreams. Cranestar has been cooing him to follow her at night, promising to train him to be even stronger, to prove all those who doubt him that he doesn't need their pity. In fact, all of them should deserve his. He's been training with her and Badbloom for a couple moons in the Dark Forest. He does not have fondness for Badbloom, having generated a fair dislike for him in the code, but somewhat admires Cranestar's presence and her powerful aura, even if he doesn't fully trust her and thinks she's condescending and has an ulterior motive. No one in the clan knows his secret from what I have gathered this year, and I'm gonna have to keep an eye on him. Quickly going over Swampice and Tasha because they continue to not have many, if anything at all, for me to say on. Swampice became close to Honey Laurel, prancing around in front of him, mocking Daisy Dusk, as I just said in Honey Laurel's segment, and then he complimented his healing skills. He also completed Greypaw's training and has had a very quiet year in general. He has continued to bond with Tasha, however, and now both of them have a decently sized crush on each other. Although Tasha has noticed how beautiful Stork Melo's eyes are and has a decent, if not bigger, crush on him too, which I frankly don't think will go anywhere, and I sincerely hope Streambark doesn't find out, because something tells me she's not the kind of girl that would be okay with a polykill, sadly. By the end of the year, Swampice did suffer a loss when his mother succumbed to the harsh winter extinction, and although he's not grieving in-game, he did sit all night on her vigil and sang a song in her memory. Snapburr also had a minimally active year, but for different reasons. She became the clan's funny jester, the comic relief if you will, being the only cat who could make Longleaf laugh out loud and uncontrollably, and playing pranks all over with his troublesome brother Apricot Fuzz. They honestly give Mungo Jerry and Rumple teaser vibes from what I know about Cats the Musical, which is not a lot, but sadly when she went out on patrol with Pebbleo and Antpurr, she tread over a stone that had loose footing and the ground caved under her, throwing her down a ledge. She was buried under the rubble, and even though the patrol quickly ran down to help her, she could only hear the muffled panic cries of her friends as she drifted to Starkland, suffocating under the dirt. And this sucks. She was very fun and I had big hopes for her. I loved her personality. That's not the only sucky death, because Antpurr sadly also died when he was checking the border alone and came across a large dog unable to outrun him. While he was alive, Antpurr covered for Peaksnout during a patrol to let him sleep in, since he wasn't feeling too great, which Peaksnout appreciated and thanked him for. He was still gloomy and sad, clinging to his mom most of the time, and wanting to sleep in a lot, not wanting to be assigned for dusk or dawn patrols. In the moon of his death, Stork Melo and Longleaf were fighting over something in the camp clearing. Antpurr's status said that he wanted to be alone, so I made it so he was indirectly in the middle of the argument in the clearing, and overwhelmed by the screaming and the recent dread of seeing his friend Snapburr die in front of him, he ran from camp to get some quiet peace of mind. He made his way to the border to get as far away as possible, and it led to his death. This poor guy went from ambitious and bossy to gloomy and depressed, and in the end, he didn't make it and spent most of his life just being sad. I really hope he gets to rest now with his friends in Starkland. Apricot Fuzz obviously didn't take his family's death very well. They lost his honorary auntie, who was always their favorite and treated him with care, and then lost his father immediately after. Then not even 2 months later, his sister, partner in crime and fellow jokester, was dead too. He and Finchhope aren't close at all as for now, so he felt like he was truly all alone. Despite that, he's been trying to prove his best to prove himself to the clan and not lose his prankster personality, wanting to honor his sister even in her passing. He took it easy on cats who were grieving with the passings of their loved ones as well, pointing out a spider on Longleaf's neck before he lay down, whereas in other conditions he would have waited to see him jump when he noticed it. He also trained his first apprentice, and he did pretty well. More on his apprentice later. They became good friends with Stork Melo, training with him constantly and sharing a lot of the same patrols. He at some point made a small sacrifice that benefited Stork Melo, which made him smile, and in return Stork Melo caught a mouse after Apricot Fuss barely missed it and handed it to them, saying that they did most of the heavy lifting to allow him to catch it and deserved it the most. When out of control, Stork Melo also pointed out a nice rock for Apricot Fuss to sharpen his claws on, and later Apricot Fuss had a nice patrol with him in Pebbleo. Overall, he had a pretty good year, all things considered. And that's not all, because towards the end of the year, Daisy Dusk asked them out while looking up at the first signs of winter snowfall, watching the snowflakes gently fall down to cover the ground. He happily accepted, tails intertwined and their head on theirs, as they jumped into their new lives as mates. Daisy Dusk has fully settled now, and although they frequently see their siblings at the border, they have no interest in whatever their old clan or old family is up to. They have a new life now and a new mate, and they're their own cat. They had a nice chat with Nightspeck at the border where they explained this to her, and Nightspeck, while hurting and conflicted with a sense of longing for a united family and struggling to find her place in BlazeClan, was happy for her sibling and gave them her full support. Rowanwind and Nightspeck now both know of their mother and younger sister, and while they haven't really talked to them, it seems that Sunshade has, and Specklefall is not happy with the situation. You'll get more info on that as we go over BlazeClan's position of power. Pansy is now 73 moons old, and she's having a bad year. Antpurr's death devastated her, and she feels like she has failed her child. She carried that grief the entire year, for over 4 moons. She was lethargic with grief, and she didn't even notice when she developed hideous exhaustion, thinking that she was just feeling awful because of her mourning. But thankfully Jaycall caught her symptoms and treated her. When she rejoined patrols, she was still very quiet, and her remaining kids were worried. On a border patrol, a BlazeClan cat mocked her attitude, and Peaksnout and Cedarbrook stood up for her, snarling the other cats away. Pansy is currently in the medicine den, sick with white cough and worried for Honey Laurel, who is still fighting the snakebite. She has asked Cedarbrook if he thinks she'll have made a good mark in LOTUSCLAN and her legacy once she dies, thinking about how she failed her son Antpurr, and now Honey Laurel is greatly ill and might not survive the snakebite. Cedarbrook comforted her and told her that her legacy, no matter how big, will shine brighter than the brightest stars in Silverpelt. Cedarbrook's not done much else, but he mostly keeps around younger warriors, cheering them on and making sure they have an adult to lean on when they feel insecure. Although he will not deny a fellow senior comfort either. He's generally just very sweet. I don't know who he glared at that makes Stork Melo angry or suspicious of him, but he's just been a nice, sweet man. Then again, rogues are still being a problem, especially with a certain accident towards the end of the year, so it makes sense that Stork Melo is at least wary. Because newly named Greynull and Tanglehawk were both ambushed and killed by rogues on the last patrol of the year, their bodies being found the next day. Greynull was named in honor of her insight at 12 moons old and became an excellent teacher, which surprised me because he was so young. She liked collecting flowers, putting them in her nest, and even giving some extra holly to Longleaf in celebration for his new litter. He was just a sweetheart that wanted everyone to be happy and wanted to keep the clan united, even letting Pebbleo know when a clanman was bad-mouthing her while she was missing, refusing to stand up for it. Tanglepaw was apprenticed to his dad Longleaf, and he told his dad he hoped he had a nice first patrol out with him, which melts my heart. He became troublesome upon his apprenticeship, and he and Longleaf trained dodges and ambush attacks. Then later, the clan heard them both come back from their patrol laughing. Tanglepaw later had heated exhaustion and was generally quieter during summer, which leads me to believe that he may have had sensory overload with the heat and probably other things that come along with summer, like cicadas buzzing or heat haze or road shimmer, which made him dizzy. He became very interested in a new kitten the clan rescued and was generally very enthusiastic to tell her all about the bird that she was named after, which thankfully amused the younger cat instead of driving her insane, because she does not have the most patient attitude. You'll meet her later. He became a loving warrior and graduated with the rest of his brothers at 12 months old. And yeah, only his brothers. We'll talk about Primrose later. He was named Tanglehawk at his own request for his sense of loyalty and his fondness for birds of prey. Olistar let him be named after a bird, and I am not immune to cute little autistic kitty cat wanting to be named after his special interest. I loved him so much, and I am very sad that the game took him away from me. This is a personal offense, honestly. He barely got to enjoy life as a warrior because he died at only 15 months old. But we're keeping the sadness going because Crooked and newly named Mottle Breeze also died, and also not to the mass extinction. Softheart and Longleaf lost 2 of their 4 kids in their first year of life, and this game is evil. Crooked lived and died, a background character to the very end. Because apart from tossing pebbles at a badger's head with hillpounds, which I thought we left behind, she only had time to have a heated debate with Peaksnout about something or other, which they ended up agreeing on in the end, before she then got yellow cough and died to it a month after. Crooked really got dealt a rough hand with coughs and colds, and this reinforces my idea that she was just weak in general, because the moment she got something worse than a green cough, it killed her instantly. Rest in peace, Queen. Bossy Mottle Kid was apprenticed to Pebbleo and became ambitious, which didn't exactly mean he was thrilled when he was made to collect moss as his first task as an apprentice, doing so begrudgingly. Later he napped with his dad and his sister Primrose Paw during a storm in the apprentice den, where Longleaf heard him purring in his sleep. He was the first to graduate, named Mottle Breeze for his drive and confidence. He was hunting in the snow with Swampice when a strong snowstorm descended and they huddled for warmth, but sadly Mottle Breeze still came back home with frostbite and died to it soon after. Little Primrose Kid was named an apprentice alongside her siblings and given to Reedroot to train, but she didn't start her training right away, still stuck in the medicine den with yellow cough. She survived it and immediately asked Reedroot for intense training, wanting to catch up to her brothers. During their first patrol, she and her brother Mottle Breeze, along with their mentors, came across a badger den. Boasting about his skill, Primrose Pro yelped when her brother began digging and stuck his head in the den, barely missing the badger's jaws before they all had to scatter. A storm started when she was helping out in camp, and a clap of thunder made her and Peaksnout jump, which they both laughed at, before she retired to the apprentice den, where her dad let her lay against him like a kitten, and they found comfort in each other's company while Mottle Paw napped and snored beside them. Softheart eventually put his grief to rest and acknowledged his daughter as her own cat, spoiling her rotten. In fact, she seems to get the priestess treatment from both of her dads, and the clan is even noticing that Longleaf and Primrose Paw are always smiling at each other. She was named Primrose Wing as a last honor to her aunt Finwing, which she gladly accepted. She graduated later than the rest of her litter at 13 months old, which is fair because she basically lost the first moon of her apprenticeship while recovering from yellow cough. She became righteous and overall devoted to her clan and her family. And she has the most adorable father-daughter bond with Longleaf calling her to catch him the fattest mouse on her first hunt as a full warrior, and both laughing about it later. Darkpaw also became righteous upon becoming an apprentice to Pansy, and they hunted a thrush on his first patrol, with him successfully catching it. He later understood Pansy had to step down as his mentor due to grief. Although she never stopped being his mentor officially, Darkpaw told her to rest, while Marsh picked up where she left off, mostly to keep her so her and Pebbleo could train him and Mottle Paw together. He's generally mellow and keeps in line, but he did at one time talk back to Pebbleo, with her thinking that Darkpaw's tone was extremely off, but they left it there and nothing worse happened. He was later named at 12 months old for his sense of justice, receiving the name Dark Mist. Here we have a new face. Meet Eaglesoar. She was found as a 2-moon-old kitten during a snowstorm by Marsh and Pebbleo as they looked for shelter from the cold. She was actually not conscious when brought to camp, and by all accounts she shouldn't have made it, but the clan was relieved when Honey Laurel managed to resuscitate her. She was born blind and was the only kitten in the nursery for most of the year, later being apprenticed to Apricot where she tried seeming uninterested, but was bouncing inside like a little kid. During her first patrol, they found a kitty pet running from a dog. The patrol chased the dog off, but the kitty pet was still distressed and swiped at Eaglepaw when she checked up on them, leaving her with a claw wound that later scarred. Pebbleo later dispelled a bad rumor about Eaglepaw, which she really appreciated, and was excited to spend time with Honey Laurel, who I think she really admires given that he saved her life and all. She was named a 12-moon-soul for her passion and became fierce and very clever. Coyote's Reek didn't do much this year, and I need to take more notes on moon-to-moon statuses because all I have to say is that she's been eavesdropping and spreading rumors like the gossip that she is. She could be the cat that spread rumors about Eaglepaw, but I'm not sure, since Pebbleo dispelled those rumors and was also hoping Coyote's Reek noticed her, which is kinda contradictory, but who knows. Last in the Pebbleo Girls Club, Wasprickle often shared patrols with Pebbleo, although mostly hunting patrols. She is happy that her brother is seemingly mellowing out a little, and doesn't know about his sight training. She's sweet to everyone in clan and likes to help around with kids, keeping the most company to Eagle Kid when she was in the nursery, and later letting Longleaf know when a clanmate was bad-mouthing him without any fear of being called a tattletale. Fallowthistle enjoyed retirement for most of the year, feeling the chill of the cold in his creaky bones, and feeling content with how the clan evolved since he joined. He seems like the old cool uncle of the clan, with a lot of younger warriors gathering around him for stories or to seek comfort from his wise words. It seems that he has a bit of a medicine knowledge I wasn't aware of, since Peaksnout asked him to look at a small cut on his leg, not wanting to worry Honey Laurel if it wasn't something major. Towards the end of the year, during the harsh leaf bear, he made sure the sick and the young ate first, and secretly passed his prey to cats he deemed needed it most, like Saplingfeather, who was quickly starving, her once beautiful figure and shiny grey pelt now dull and hanging off her bones, like a loose blanket. He never confessed to Dapplewillow and only shared the elder's den with her for a couple moons, before he died to starvation. I am devastated. Fallowthistle started as such a nothing character, and he's become one of my favorite side cats to this day. I'm gonna miss him so much. Saplingfeather we already touched over a little, but she had a rough year. She was weak since the summer where she had full heat stroke, and that seemed to have started killing her appetite, which sadly snowballed when the prey started running low. That, combined with her giving all the prey she had for herself to Swampice and Marshal instead, not wanting them to fall ill, caused her to slowly grow weaker and weaker until her body couldn't continue. She never stopped hunting as long as her body could still move, and Marshal was, understandably, the most distraught about her death alongside her son, Marshal being the only one of the two with a grief condition in game currently. The Elder's Death suddenly feels so empty because Plumspeckle also died to the mass extinction, succumbing to green cough. He had a slow and peaceful year chatting with Fallowthistle and Dapplewillow when they all shared the den, and having a small moment with Olivar where he approached him, asking for his advice one last time before his possible retirement from the leadership position, wanting to focus on his life before he turned elder age, remembering Dapplewillow's words back when he planned to make her deputy. Pebbleo had a huge loud argument with him, and I wonder if it was about Marigold Tail, since Plumspeckle had been his mentor. She later came to him to ask him for advice on her scarred tail, using that as a chance to apologize for her rude outburst. Dapplewillow now sits alone in the Elder's Den at 132 moons old. She retires 2 moons prior, and enjoyed her last few moons in company with her fellow elders before it all went down. Now that she's the only elder, Olivar and Pebbleo, her former apprentice, come to visit her and keep her company, with Dapplewillow mentioning Pebbleo looked good on the moon that she announced kids, which is very sweet. She also rolled to be on the ROA spectrum for something happier. She's Aki-romantic or lith-romantic, which basically means a person who experiences romantic attraction but has no desire or need to have their feelings reciprocated and may lose those feelings if a relationship is established. For clarification, she never returned Fallowthistle's feelings, so I don't think they would have gone anywhere. Lastly, once again, in the nursery, but this time together, we have Longleaf and Softheart, who had another litter with Cinder surrogating for them again. Although, now that Cinder has mysteriously gotten pregnant twice, her two legs have finally decided to fix her. This time, they had a single kid. A little girl Longleaf chose to name Vine Kid, after his uncle Vineflame in BlazeClan. Vine Kid is biologically Longleaf and Cinder's and is currently 1 moon old, impulsive, and interested in clan history. Now going over her dads individually. Softheart received petals from Laurel and spent time with Peaksnout, where they both ended up understanding each other better after an argument, and Peaksnout thought that Softheart was very polite. Although he later stirred daggers at Softheart next moon, which I am unsure why. He was very sad to lose 2 of his sons this year, and sat all night at both of their vigils, missing the warmth that Mottled Breeze brought to his life and leaving Tanglehawk's favorite prey at his grave. He also changed personalities this year, going from loving to playful, which is an interesting change. I'm happy he seems to be loosening up and enjoying himself more, even despite all the deaths. He apparently has a BlazeClan rival that he was seen racing with. And after playing BlazeClan, I narrowed it down to 2 cats. It could be a cold she-cat named Floodsmoke or a vengeful she-cat named Bright Edge. Sadly, Floodsmoke was killed by rogues this year in BlazeClan, so I'll have to see if he meets with his rival next year to confirm if it was her or Bright Edge. Longleaf, meanwhile, received Holly from Greynull and grieved his children alongside his mate, wishing Mottled Breeze was safe in Starkland, and I think he was by his side when Frostbite took his life, and had to break the news to the rest of his family. He's been pushing himself hard to be there for his mate and kids, and be someone they can rely on. On a cuter note, he couldn't stop gushing over Softheart while having a chat with his daughter Primrose Paw at the time, and that is just adorable. I love my gay boys, I love them so much. With that, we have reached the end of this year's LOTUSCLAN's lineup, and we're gonna take a quick look at the position of powers because I am tired of recording. LOTUSCLAN first, since we already talked about them. Olistar is considering retirement. Stork Melo hasn't changed. Jaycall and Laurel are now our only medicine cats, and Hill Pounce is our new main mediator, but Toll Rapid is still there. Over in BlazeClan, Goldstar turned troublesome, and has been less aggressive to outsiders this year, focusing more on keeping their own cats in check, making sure they respect their leadership. Sunshade is performing well as deputy, but honestly he doesn't seem to be interested or committed to the role at all, and is more so chained to it by Goldstar. He is more preoccupied at the moment with family meetings at the border, which, surprise surprise, you get an extra animatic during the neighboring clan alliances. Let's go! Sunshade met with Speckleful in their usual spot, with Speckleful furious to find out that Sunshade had kept their kids' parentage a secret. Speckleful heaved as he trotted past her mate. How could you let our kids, grow up without us? Why would you abandon them like this, Sunshade? The tortoise she-cat paced around, her eyes avoiding the Toms, who looked at the ground with his ears lowered. I only allowed you to take them to BlazeClan because I thought they'd be safer with BerryClan's shortage of cats and the rogues running around. I would have never let you do that if I knew you would do this. She sneered, her eyes watering with a mother's pain. Sunshade's heart broke seeing his mate like this. Speckleful, he said softly, patting to the Molly's side. It wasn't my choice. I didn't get a choice. Goldstar knew they were my kids. I don't know how they found out, but they did. They threatened to publicly punish me, cast our kids out to die alone fending for themselves. Unless I promised to never interact with them and let the clan raise them for me. My punishment as a code breaker was to watch my kids grow without me, or live just long enough to watch them die. I never wanted this. Trust me, it breaks me every day. But if I go against Goldstar now, they'll do something worse. I know them too well to believe otherwise. It's why they made me deputy, so they can torture my conscience more and keep me on a short leash. Speckleful looked at the ginger Tom and saw true sadness in his greenish yellow eyes. She sighed and relaxed her body against his, resting her head on her mate's shoulder. You know, I convinced Pipestar to name Laurel Shade after you. She knows about us, about our kids. I think she would welcome you, Sunshade. We can still fix this. Sunshade looked unsure and rested his head on hers in return. I'm deputy of LOTUSCLAN, Speckleful. Our son is bound to be our main medicine cat soon. It would mean a bigger mess that we can handle. It would put not just our kids in danger, it would put our whole clans in jeopardy. The she-cat closed her eyes, choking on her own dread, her mate picking up on it and nuzzling into her fur. We'll find a way. I promise you. I won't let anything happen to them or to you. Mimic Frost is now elder age, and Rowanwin is helping him perform duties until a new medicine cat steps up so he can retire and Rowanwin can take over. Rowanwin and Nightspec are finding comfort in each other, and although Sunshade has tried to reach out to his children, Rowanwin is avoiding him for now and is making sure Nightspec does too. Lastly, in Berry Clan, Pipestar has not retired yet, but she might as well have. I think she genuinely might retire at the beginning of next year, because she is seriously so tired. She's been hearing the voices of StarClan cats and has begun refusing food. She's showing clear signs of dementia, and Hollow River is trying to convince her it's time to step down. Hollow River is still deputy and acts like the true leader of the clan, while trying to convince Pipestar that it's her time to rest. She doesn't want to undermine her authority and greatly respects her, but she knows that this is the best choice. Lupintaft continues to be awful, and I will confirm, after watching his status closely along with my friend, that he is working with rogues. This explains why he seems to be frankly bad at his job despite someone who joined claiming to be a wandering healer. He's been messing up the herb stores on purpose, and he begrudgingly followed the cries of kittens, only to find the bodies of an unknown quid and their kids beside them already dead, which he just shook his head at and left them there. Grassbeetle does not like his fellow medicine cat, but he keeps his head about him and his mouth shut, and dedicates himself fully to actually doing his job. He's been busy, with Berry Clan also suffering a harsh leaf-bear mass extinction, and is currently crushing on a younger Tom who is a very young single dad right now, named Shrikestep, which is Hollow River's adopted son from a previous relationship her mate had. Lastly, there's Seedpaw, apprentice to Grassbeetle, who showed a strong connection to StarClan since kidhood. She was completely crushed by her brother Robinpaw's death, grieving for most of her apprenticeship, and she still hasn't graduated at 12 Moon Soul since she is frankly not feeling okay, and Grassbeetle is making sure to let her rest, telling her there is no rush. Lupintaft isn't as considerate, dragging her along on patrols and ordering her around, mostly while complaining. Birdapple is the only mediator, and I will reveal that I recently realized that I messed up because she was actually meant to join this year, not on year 4. Although she is not drawn here, Laurel Shade, out of all cats, decided to try her hand at mediation, only to get bored of it basically immediately and switching back to being a warrior, determined to let nothing slow her down. And that made me and my friend laugh, because that means that it was actually Laurel Shade who was Berry Clan's first mediator before deciding, yeah, no, this is boring. And with that, Year 5 is complete. Year 6 notes and script are being revised and structured, and we had a lot of kittens. And then we actually lost more cats. But you'll have to see how things turn out, because genuinely so many cats decided to be parents next year, literally at the same time. If you're excited for that, consider subscribing to keep up with my content, or you can join my newly rebuilt community Discord. Thank you so much for watching and taking interest in my art. Please check out the links below, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!